Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Wrestling Talks and Thoughts. I'm your host, Saheem the Dream.
With your boy JJASH.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Wrestling Talks and Thoughts, where we are talking wrestling. If you guys are joining us on Facebook Live, give us a thumbs up, drop a comment in the comment section below. If you guys are catching us on YouTube, hit us up in the comment section below and hit the subscribe button. If you don't subscribe, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, will not give you a WWE title opportunity.
Because he runs this. He runs your
he and you will and you will acknowledge him. What's going on, Jay?
Not much. I just got into the show that I didn't want to give a chance. I'm gonna talk to you about off air, but I didn't want to give the show a chance at all. I was so addicted.
I think I know what you're talking about. Me and my wife were talking about this waters.
But I watched it and I'm impressed. I'm hooked on it.
Okay. All right, we'll talk about it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Back to Raw. The Raw review. So if you guys been watching Raw, what are your thoughts? Talk to us. What do you think about Monday Night Raw? Jay? I mean, not Monday Night Raw. I'm sorry. Not Raw. I'm bugging.
We did talk about Raw.
We did talk about Raw. We talked about Raw Tuesday.
The down.
SmackDown. Sorry.
Well, as I just found out, Roman Reigns runs WWE. The announcers work for him. We work for him.
Everybody works for him, apparently. Of course. I
didn't know. I guess I need to check, Roman. I mean, I ain't working for you for free, brother.
Yeah. So apparently, Roman Reigns,
Yeah, I mean, guess he got a second job. I just didn't know about
it. I guess he does,
But what I did realize is they're hyping this Madison Square Garden event next Saturday. So I'm kind of debating on wondering if it's going to be actually televised or is it something that's just going to be something live and we hear about it, on Raw. But
yeah. Anthony Cobbs has joined us, the big bad booty daddy. He said Raw was a dumpster fire. So, Sean Keys, Sean Keys.
So what I did realize, what I've been reading is WWE may be going away from the brand split. That's why they're unifying all the titles. So I don't know how you feel about that. Universal title, the tag titles. I did like Naomi and Sasha going for the tag titles, because it gives Naomi a belt, make her relevant. Yeah. I would prefer to see Bianca and Naomi because that would be a team I don't think anybody could really beat. But
right, yeah, I was more so for. I definitely agree with you. I was more so with Bianca and Sasha. I'm sorry, Bianca and Naomi as tag champions or holding the tag belts. I feel like they make a better pairing. Anthony Cobb says, so I heard General Manager Teddy Long said that Brock Lesnar is facing
The Undertaker.
Holla, holla, player.
But yeah, I mean, now I guess I like the fact they're going back to the Team Bad roots. When Sasha first got called up, she was with, Naomi and Tamina. So I guess they're, rekindling that Team Bad. But then again, I don't know. I kind of, because at first I didn't pay attention to it, but then they said Sasha looked kind of like surprised. So it may be a swerve, but Sasha may turn on Naomi and they may be feuding.
Right. Didn't no, that was Bailey. Bailey turned on Sasha.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The way that Sasha, I need to go back and look at it. I was reading it and they said Sasha was surprised when Naomi said, hey, we're going for the tag titles. And she was like, oh, she hugged her. So I can see Sasha turning on Naomi.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to this.
Yeah, they need some better faces holding the titles. Speaking of which, Sami Zayn being Intercontinental Champion, and of course, we see that match for Mania is being set with him and Johnny Knoxville. for the Intercontinental title. Meanwhile, in a better universe and an alternate reality, that would have been Ricochet challenging Sami Zayn for that title, and more likely going over at WrestleMania, to be pushed as a main star.
So can we officially make next month Ricochet Appreciation Month?
Okay, that's fine.
The reason I say that is because we all know Cesaro silently, left. And after Mania, WWE goes through their budget cuts, and I just feel like Ricochet's one of them names that's going to be on that budget cut list.
Yeah, let's hold off a little bit. Let's get after we do Raw. We'll talk about Cesaro's departure. We'll get into that. Anthony Kyle says, I'm tired of seeing Sasha turn on people. Not all black people are like that. He says, I don't think that match is going to be for the title. I think Ricochet is going to win due to Knoxville interfering. I hope so. I really do.
It is for the title.
Ricochet and Sammy, right? It is for the title. Yeah, it is. It's a title defense. Josue says Sammy got the belt because they were afraid of Sammy. Afraid of Sammy. If Sammy didn't get it, him and Owens would leave. Owens is not leaving.
Yeah, they already signed. So
Owens already resigned. He already sold his soul already back to WWE.
Him and Sammy, actually. So
yeah. So Johnny Knoxville. Johnny Knoxville. I
don't know. I was reading. I guess. Well, it was not really a rumor, but so I was reading this article, and they said, WWE released numerous talent due to budget cuts, but yet
recently.
No, not recently, but I guess. But yet, you bring in Ronda Rousey, you bring in Johnny Knoxville, Logan Paul, and rumored Pat McAfee's supposed to have a match at Mania. Which I just had all of them. I would definitely prefer to see Knoxville. McAfee, because McAfee, had two great matches. Two matches he did have.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We have some news and rumors. We'll get into that. Anthony Cobb says, yeah, they all signed with Death Row Records. Yeah. Come to Death Row. When you have producers dancing all up in your videos, you ain't got to worry about somebody taking your spotlight. Sign with Death Row. That was a Suge Knight speech at the Source Awards. Anthony Cobb says he took a hell of a beating on SmackDown. I was surprised. He did. Well, yeah. He's the jackass guy, so they always do the little stunts and stuff like that, always abusing their bodies for laughs. So to me, it's expected. Anthony Cobb says, yeah, it's supposed to be McAfee versus Vince. We'll get into that.
I heard Vince was supposed to have a big match at 76.
Yeah, 76 years old. Vince McMahon is inserting himself into WrestleMania. Meanwhile, he had a problem with Shane McMahon inserting himself inside the Royal Rumble. Like father, like son, right?
Yeah. I didn't know Shane was 56.
Yeah, let's get into that. Hold on, let's just hold on. Let's just talk about SmackDown right now because we got there's a lot to talk about. It's just my mind is just going. But let's get into SmackDown. So Roman Reigns, Tribal Chief. Well, so let's talk about this title unification. And you asked me earlier, you said, I don't know how you feel about the title unification. My thoughts on the title unification is that I think it's going to take away a lot of opportunities for a lot of people on the roster. But at this point in time, we don't really have a lot of people on the roster to really give much opportunity to, because Vince done, eliminated most of them due to budget cuts. And most of those budget cuts were, primarily because of, WWE wasn't necessarily losing money. They could have gained, they could have built a stronger fan base had they booked their talent a lot better. But then also a lot of times they do budget cuts because they want to offer bigger contracts to certain superstars, such as the likes of Brock Lesnar and Mr. AJ Styles, who just got a $3 million contract a year for re-signing with WWE. And and the likes of Ronda Rousey, when they offer them, this big amount of money to have them wrestle in and say, well, we're not using these guys here, so we'll just cut their salary and use our combined financial resources. Like, because I know they have like a budget in which they want to pay, in which they want to give out financially. So they say, $50 million will be allocated to like talent. And this is the maximum that we want to spend on giving talent per year. So we're going to divide that up amongst different talent. So I guess they look within that budget and say, okay, well, we have, $3 million we want to give to AJ. And then we got, 3 or 4 wrestlers who make up that $3 million salary. So we're going to cut these wrestlers and give this money to this wrestler to stay within that budget of $50 million. So, I mean, that's how, they do things in business. And I'm quite sure that's probably how they did it, because I remember, that was one of the reasons why Brock came back last time, was because of budget cuts to pay him, a large sum of money. Anthony Cobb says, on SmackDown, I found out I work for Roman Reigns. I want to know how long I've been working for him. I need my check. I need my check too, man. Jay needs his check. I need my check. You need your check. We all need our check, because apparently Roman Reigns, he's everybody's boss. And egomania is running wild. So
yeah, I mean, so and taxes come around, so I need that W-2, Roman. So I need you to.
Well, I need that W word, man. You ain't got to file my taxes, man. I'm sitting there, on salary for you, man. I ain't getting no Christmas bonuses or nothing, man. Holiday pay. Shoot.
Word, yeah, Roman. You becoming a horrible boss, brother.
Word. And I hope health insurance comes with this job. I need my benefits. 401k.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's going to take away a lot of opportunity. Laugh out loud. Anthony says, I can see him acting like that backstage to the jobbers. I can definitely see him doing that. But what do you guys think about the title unification? I just think that's going to take away a lot of opportunities. What do you think?
I mean, I completely agree. And like I said, we talk on the show all the time. About guys like, Finn Balor, and a lot of guys who we can see, as the heavyweight champ. You know what I'm saying? And it made it better because you had the Universal, you had the World Heavyweight Championship, so you always had 2 talents who had the belt. You know what I'm saying? Where therefore you can spread it out a little bit more. But now you're unifying it. Now, a lot of the guys that, a lot of guys who would potentially have an opportunity to be champion, is gonna go down to like the big names. Even guys like we said last week, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins may not get another title opportunity unless he's a victim of circumstance where everybody gets hurt or something happens and he just having to, be the next man up. But other than that, if everything stays how everybody's healthy, everybody stays around.
Yeah.
A lot of guys like I said, Seth, Big E, a lot of guys who we could see as champion may not get that opportunity, and even Bobby Lashley to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Because then it's like,
right.
So I mean, it sucks because now you're, instead of giving more people titles, and then it's like, then you can't have Roman with both belts for over a year. You know what I'm saying? Because then it's just gonna get real stale. Like, okay, so.
Same old S, same old. I think I'm gonna read the comments section below real quick. Anthony Cobb says, I think with the roster I think with the roster cuts is going to be great. He says also that when you have 18 active wrestlers, 1 belt, it makes sense. That's true. He also says, and out of those four only get a title shot. So that's true. You got 4 rotating, main eventers out of a 18-man roster. It makes sense to kind of unify the titles. They wouldn't have to had unify the titles had they kept the wrestlers they kept on the roster.
Right.
And instead of doing budget cuts, again, like if they would really just kind of really, balance out the show, right? Balance out the show like this, right? In the sense of, you have NXT who's up and coming talent, right? And they're being developed to come to the main roster, and, being groomed for the main roster. And then you have Raw, which is supposed to be the A show, which is the show that Roman Reigns should possibly be on because he's supposed to be their big boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Fox, who should be, not necessarily a second tier, but another title. It should be the the world title, universal title, whatever title you're going to use for that show. They could use it for talent that Vince McMahon questions, talent that Vince McMahon, second guesses, talent that Vince McMahon can experiment with. And I think that that's what he was doing at first with the world title, putting the belt on Big E, putting the belt on, back on Miz, putting the belt on Drew McIntyre, putting the belt on, different talent that he had. So, we see Vince McMahon giving those guys a chance, Bobby Lashley as well, but I think that he should keep it there because again, and again, you don't know, not necessarily you don't know, but again, you as Vince McMahon have this perception of what you think or who you think should be the superstar, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you have the fans who have the guy that they've chosen, who's the man of the people. So, you can have your guy, which is Roman, right? And then you can have the people's champ, which is like a Kevin Owens, which is like a Finn Balor, which it could have been like a Cesaro, which could have been, a Kevin Owens, again, all those other guys, a Matt Riddle, people that people want to see be champion, people that people really want to go for. And I think that that's what Vince was doing. But I'm gonna just go through this real quick because I understand the whole narrative of the whole manipulation that's behind it, and I've explained this before in the show, and that's this is that Vince McMahon has his idea of who he wants champion, and if Vince McMahon cuts out all the people who everybody cheers for, then the only person you have to cheer for is the person that he puts before you as who he wants to be champion. So it's like he's leaving you no choice. So say for instance, if we all going for Matt Riddle, and Vince McMahon says, I want Roman Reigns to be the guy, what he's going to do is he's going to have, Matt Riddle get squashed, have Matt Riddle get pushed down the ladder because everybody keeps cheering for Matt because that's what we want. And Vince McMahon says, no, Roman's the guy. And that's who I want you to cheer for because that's who the guy's going to make me money because I say he's going to make me money. And that's who he puts before you. So he gives Roman these bigger spots. He gives him better matches. He gives him better booking, lets him do whatever he wants creatively so that he can be put over and the entertainment value on him goes up while the entertainment value on a guy that you're cheering for goes down because he's being booked horribly. He's not being put in better angles, better matches. And that's how Vince McMahon does his manipulating tactic. You know what I'm saying? We see it every night on Raw. We see it all the time, every night on Raw and SmackDown. Same old cycle. And I think with the titles not being unified or the titles being unified and them taking that unification into consideration, I think that it's going to take away from a lot of possible champions. Because we had two titles, we had Big E, we had Bobby, we had Drew, we had all these experimental champions happen because of that. And I don't think they should unify the titles, but again, Anthony made that point. You got 18 active wrestlers on your roster.
But then it gets to the point where, like I said, it's already frustrating for a lot of talent. A la this. I mean, I hate to keep. We're not going to say the obvious, but a lot of talent. You know what I'm saying? Who isn't being. You know what I'm saying? Who's benefiting from the brand split? Who's actually getting matches?
Right.
Now you unify it. So now. So you're gonna have Roman on both shows. So that 15 minutes of Roman promos, even matches, that takes away from I'm saying somebody else like a Ricochet, probably a Street Profits or Omos, or even a lot of the women's talent. Every show we have at least two women's matches. Now, what combining it, you may have one women's match a night. You know what I'm saying? Because Roman's gonna be heavy on both shows. You know what I'm saying? That even like I said, a lot of lower tier talent, like even and then like I said, that's going to build up frustration because you're gonna have guys like, let's say, Damian Priest. Once he drops the belt, he's gonna get sent all the way down to the bottom of the list. Even Shinsuke is another one who may never get TV time, or you oh snap, Shinsuke's still there. You know what I'm saying? So because like right now they got him in vignettes with Rick Booz driving around in a whatever truck that is, but it's just like a lot of talent that normally we get TV time is not going to get that TV time because now you're combining shows, and a lot of the big names are going to dominate both shows, which sucks, and now you're going to lead to more frustration and more people going to be like Ali wanting their release because like I can't there's no way that I can, thrive because I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, so definitely agree. That lack of opportunity is going to suck for a lot of wrestlers. Real quick, comment section below. Anthony Cobb says, and I heard they're going to throw Veer in a title picture as well. Who's Veer?
The guy from that was with Jinder Mahal, who they've been advertising for months that he's coming and never showed up.
Oh, the big guy.
But I'm thinking he's probably gonna debut after Mania because I mean there's no point of bringing him in now because what storyline are you gonna put him in?
Right.
And then who he's gonna fight? And even Mace, let's use him for instance. We haven't seen Mace in years, you know what I'm saying? So he may be next to the chopping block, so
right. Yeah, Mason
T-Bar.
Yeah, T-Bar. Anthony Cobb says, "Oh God, anyone but Damian Priest for WWE champion." Yeah, I said this, again, like again, the truth of the matter is this, because I understand what you guys are saying. Because I remember like a while back, some of you guys were like really going, like some of you guys kind of like Damian Priest. And I thought Damian Priest had potential, but again, that was under NXT, where NXT was actually developing him, like
So that wasn't a fan of him.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Damian Priest. I always thought Damian Priest was bland. Like, I thought he had something. I thought he had potential, but I always thought he was bland. So, now he's in WWE. I mean, now he's in the main roster, and with him, I'm sorry, real quick. Who the hell is Mace? Mason T-Bar.
Retribution is it?
Retribution, right? The guy from Retribution. But yeah, with what's his name? With Damian Priest, he was under development, so they were actually pushing certain narratives on his character to where they can give different different perspective to his character, where he can be developed properly, and he could find more of himself. He's on the main roster now. He's just resulting to the same old gimmick. Is like either you're like this happy-go-lucky good guy, or you're this angry mad guy who has everything everything he means to accomplish, but at the same time he has no satisfaction in just accomplishing that. So now he's just getting frustrated with his own victories, and now he's beating up the good guys and just going overboard with his. It's just ridiculous. Like his character is just becoming ridiculous, because not necessarily because of Damien, it's just how they're booking him, how they're writing this narrative into the story. And again, on the NXT, they really give clear direction on their characters, but they actually give you more of a human side, to where the good guys and bad guys can teeter on that line of, human emotion, to express their frustrations or express their aggressions or express their sadness or express, those different types of emotions, where in WWE it's like either you're happy or you're sad, or you're just, whatever, but it's just, I just feel like the development of Vince McMahon's negligence of, Damian Priest is a problem. You put the belt on him and just throw him out there, and then he's fighting these matches, but he has no great promo skills. His promo skills still need to be developed, but yeah. Beer in the title picture.
No.
Yeah, so again, I mean, I just think, this whole title unification, my mind is just keep spinning wheels about, what they're going to do. And I do see the benefit of it for Vince, because you're going to have Roman on SmackDown and Raw. At the same time, you're going to have Brock on SmackDown and Raw. You're going to have all these wrestlers, kind of circulating throughout the brands. But then on the other hand, I think that, again, if you already had a certain amount of wrestlers that were lacking opportunity on each shows, and now you unify the titles and you have these champions or these people circulating through Raw and SmackDown, imagine how much lack of opportunity they'll have now. Or then when both titles are unified, right? So you always see Roman, you always see Brock, which is fine because those guys are main event picture characters. But then, you have other guys who should be in development on their way up, who are not getting that attention or not getting that TV time that they should get in order to be put in the main event picture or given the opportunity to show their ability. And it's sad, man. It's just like we're really just living under Vince's narrative. So, it's just like we have to wait for Vince to change his mind.
And then outside of that, even I was just thinking about a lot of the women who's definitely not get opportunities. Liv Morgan, Doudrop maybe pushed in the back. Zelina Vega, Carmella is definitely going to get pushed aside. Aaliyah, unfortunately, she's going to get pushed aside. And so I want your opinion on a protector.
Okay.
I wasn't a fan of Xia Li in NXT, and her match with Natty definitely didn't persuade me or change my mind. It just looked sloppy, and they would just look all over the place. I don't know who's to blame for it. Yeah. But and even that little I guess we'll call it the black mask or spinning kick that she did, it was just so I was just like,
that was a bit of a fumble. I seen her attempt of the black mass. Her pivot foot wasn't quite sturdy, so she didn't land it right. I wasn't. I mean, I didn't know. I seen her in NXT, and I didn't even think she had a lot of matches in NXT. She didn't really fight that much. I know she debuted. And she had like 2 or 3 matches. I seen one match with her in NXT when she debuted. I seen that one match, and it was very quick. It was a squash match.
Yeah, she had a lot of matches. I'm not gonna lie, she had a lot of matches in NXT.
She did have a lot of matches.
She did a lot of matches, and then after she first debuted, she had a lot of matches. She was on there, regularly. But then they tried to, I guess there was no difference between Asuka. Like all these Asian women had the same kind of vibe and style, and even the new Asian girl that they have on it now, I can't think her name, but they all have that same kind of like here we go again kind of thing. So then they tried to switch it up and make her like this. She went to the Japanese Chinese dojo, and she had the older ancient spirit with the other guy. I can't think of the names for them. It's horrible. But anyway, so since they tried to use her with that and trying to like I guess switch her up or even try to but yeah, it's just like it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, not like how it worked for Asuka and Io. I mean, Io was okay.
I like Io.
No, I'm sorry. Io's pretty good. I think Io and Asuka had the best out of the Asian women as far as character development. What's that name? What's the girl name who retired and then showed back up in Japan to wrestle again? And she was Asuka's partner. Huh? Kairi Sane, yeah. Kairi Sane, yeah. I wasn't a fan of her character. She was the pirate. She had like this little pirate thing, this anime pirate character. Yeah, I was like, whatever, I wasn't really for it, but that's for like people who are like, all the anime guys. I wasn't big on it. But she was a great wrestler though. Yeah, I think Xia Li with her character, I like her character. I just think that more time given, we're going to see more out of her. But then, having her wrestle Natalya, who has pretty much just been a jobber performer, with just great athletic ability and not really much of a personality to really kind of cling on to, is kind of like it gives her the opportunity to really show how she's different from her. I think that when we don't get that difference, or if we don't get that difference, then that's going to be the situation to whereas she may not really be seen as more of a serious competitor, because it's like when we see wrestlers like Natalya, who's like a veteran, a roster veteran, she's a great wrestler, she's a great trainer, but she has no great person. Her personality does not pop, like it doesn't connect. She's a great entertainer, but it's just like to have, we need somebody who can connect with the fans, on a higher level. So I think if Xia Li can do that, then it's going to definitely show the difference. But if she can't, then she's going to be one of those, But overall in this day and age, it kind of really doesn't really matter, right? Because Vince is going to push whoever he wants to push.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So he don't care what we think. We can think this person has the charisma of a bag of rocks, and he's going to find a way to make you think that this is the guy who should be main eventing WrestleMania, because that's this is his company, and what he says is what he says, right? But you know, lack of tag team. I mean, and it's funny because like the Usos been battling. They've been wrestling against who's the guy?
Oh my god, that feud's been pointless to me.
Right, the New Day's been burying Los Lotharios for like the last month. The Usos been battling, going back and forth with the Viking Raiders for the last 3 months. You know,
right.
It's like they're not even circling like tag teams like that. Like you'll see Dolph Ziggler, you see the Dirty Dogs come in, have a match or two. You have the Street Profits come in, have a match or two. But then it's just like it's back to the Usos and the Viking Raiders, who again are not really over with the fans. I'm sorry, the War Raiders. My apologies, Anthony Cobbs. The War Raiders.
Yeah.
It's like these guys. So I mean. I don't know. Whatever, man. Let's get to some. You got anything else you want to talk about concerning SmackDown?
Let me see if I can try to think of the show. All right, so that happened. Johnny Knoxville, Shinsuke and Break Rules we touched on. Obviously the Roman, the Naomi. And your favorite Ronda Rousey, her faces.
Right. So Ronda Rousey, Ronda Rousey shows up, and I seen a promo, and I was just like, again, flat promo. She comes out, she gives her speech about her mom was, the first woman to win a judo competition while, pregnant and studying for a PhD and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, like your mother won a judo competition pregnant. Oh, I think no, sorry, single mother. I'm bugging. She was a single mother, and she was the first woman to win a judo competition while studying for her PhD. So, and she was just like, I want to be the first. And then they begin to talk about all of Ronda Rousey's accomplishments. And, again, it's just, to me, it's just, Anthony Cobb says Shinsuke and Rick Boogs went on a camping trip together. Yes, I seen the Jeep Wrangler commercial. Anthony Cobb says, so I hear. So her mom was pregnant doing judo. Explains a lot why Ronda came out the way she did. I'm sorry, she wasn't pregnant. She was a single mother.
Single mom, right?
Yeah, but Ronda goes in and talks about it, and it's just like it was just so like it's like one of those moments where you're trying to put a person over for what they done, knowing that again, it's like but you don't have much of again. I go back to sports entertainment, right? And it's like if your personality don't sell, it don't sell. Congratulations to Ronda for all she's accomplished, and that's amazing. But it's just like one of those things with the character is just that she just came out and she just like Ronda still needs character development, and that's the thing. It's just like it's like she came out, she talked about all her accomplishments, and it was just like to me, it was just like I didn't care. I cared, but I didn't care. It was like I care for the fact that that's amazing for her to do what she did. I didn't care for the fact that it was just like Ronda, um, you do so much better in a UFC circuit than you do in an entertainment circuit because you don't have a larger than life personality. Like it doesn't sell, Oh, okay. So Anthony Cobb says, "Oh, now Ronda trying to use, I know, what it's like to be Black Lane to get the crowd behind her." Yeah, like she's trying to use that whole underdog. Oh, I've accomplished this, I've accomplished that, and didn't have whatever. And then, or I was able to do and be the first to da 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 da. So now you should cheer for me because I'm the person who's going to try to fight to do the unthinkable, do the impossible. And it was just like, they was like, oh, she was the first woman, one of the first women to ever main event a WrestleMania. Mind you, Let me, and this is something I want to get into. But anyway, Anthony Cobb says, my mother was a single parent who had 4 jobs and raised us. Let me get into this, right?
But did she enter a judo competition, Anthony?
No, she didn't. Did your mother? I'm sorry. This is Bob. This is Bob. But yeah, she right. But anyway, but we just joking, Ant. But but yeah, let me. I just want to get into this real quick, and I want to say this because this needs to be said, and I think that this is one of the annoying things about. What is that? Oh yeah, she kicked my. Oh yeah, my mom's. Yeah, I remember one time there was this guy who was like down the block or whatever. He was like screaming down the block or whatever, saying some stuff. My mother was like, "Who is this guy you got hanging around the house?" Da 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 da. And I was like, "Ma," I was like, something, whatever. I was like, "He knows karate." She was like, "Well, I know crazy. You better get him from my house." So, moms are crazy. They'll find some kind of method of getting a victory, whether it's a frying pan, skillet, or 9mm or a knife. A woman will try to get that job done. But anyway, I just want to say this though, in that they have like this whole women's revolution thing going on, and most of the women or most of the people who watch wrestling are men, right? That's the thing about like this whole women's revolution thing, and it's like even them main eventing WrestleMania. I felt like again it should have been a singles competition, but I just felt I don't know. I just felt annoyed because we knew it was a gimmick to have them have that triple threat match as a main event when we all knew that Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston should have been a main event. That was the hottest match, the hottest story at that time, and it should have main evented, but it didn't main event. And I get so annoyed because when I look at how how they try to push the women's revolution or how they try to push like certain things, it's like what annoys me is that like they try to push women in certain areas that they know that men not it's not that men are dominant in, but that it's a thing that culturally men gravitate to. It's men culturally gravitate to physical, um, things that deal with um, high physical demand. You know what I mean? Whether it's carpentry, whether it's football, whether as I'm sorry, football being athletics, basketball, things that deal with high physical demand. Women tend to deal with things that usually require, physical effort, but yet more organizing, you know what I'm saying? More administration, you know what I'm saying? Or not necessarily administration, but just things that are tend to deal with more detail. And I think what annoys me is the fact that, it's like we knew it was a gimmick. It felt like a gimmick. That's the only reason why one of the reasons why I couldn't really enjoy the match. I could have enjoyed the match a lot better had it just been Sasha and what's her name? Ronda.
Mm-hmm.
Not Sasha and Ronda.
Becky
and Ronda, right? Becky and Ronda. But I got annoyed because it was like, yeah, because these are going to be the first women to do it. And I'm like, are y'all doing it because you're trying to get women to watch wrestling? Because most women don't watch wrestling. Most women don't really care about wrestling. Most women care about Hallmark movies, a glass of wine, getting their nails done, getting their hair done, buying bags, buying shoes, looking nice, looking pretty. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, okay, hello. Okay, hello. I'm sorry. My wife is in the background trying to comment on the things that she cares that she don't. You can't tell a woman. You can't tell a woman what she cares about, what she should care about, but she can tell you what you should care about. Just keep that in mind, fellas. But anyway,
but we know that was they just gotta add Charlotte into the first ever anything. You can't have the first anything without having Charlotte Flair in it. So
yeah, but my thing, what annoys me is the fact that they keep pushing like this whole women's thing, like as if the women demographic is a big demographic in these type of like, okay, for instance, let's take the women's NBA, right? The women's NBA has been around for like more than 10 years, right? But their ticket sales have not increased.
To be honest with you, I was invested within the first 3 years. I want to say first 3 seasons. I was like, oh, snap, this new WWE. But then it kind of like fizzled out, and honestly, I don't really watch it. And
you know why? You know why? I mean, you get you know why one of the reasons why it fizzled out, Jay?
Well,
Jay, you know why? I want you to say why. I want you to.
Okay, so for me, it's a lot slower. It's So it's like the men's game is a lot faster paced and stuff like that. And I feel like they don't have the national exposure as the NBA does.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they need to get better at marketing, or having us pretty much know who these women are. Like, I mean, outside of the big names who's been there for a while, like Sue
Mm-hmm.
Bird and Diana Taurasi,
Yeah.
Candace Parker, got good women like that. Outside of that, a lot of I mean, the typical guy, if the typical person who's not really into sports anything like that can't really give you 5 WNBA women's names, you know what I'm saying? But they can give you 5, men's names, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whether past, present, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think, for them it's, more exposure. I mean, more nationwide exposure. But again, it's like I said, it's different. You know what I'm saying? It's harder to, I don't want to say harder to watch, but it's a lot slower. So even a lot of hardcore basketball fans, they'll watch college basketball, but if you try to get to watch a WNBA game, they're like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, but I mean, but another reason why is because your girlfriend ain't trying, or any girlfriend you had ain't trying to find out how to do a crossover like Allen Iverson. They don't care. They don't. They don't care about that.
Which
They
is
don't,
true.
they don't care about that. They'll watch it and be entertained by the athletic ability of the man. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is that like we do have like women in physical demanding areas, even in the work field, is very low. Like it's a low count. It's a low count. You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it is that it's annoying because of the fact that it's like it's like it was so gimmicky, but it's just like they try to push all these like women matches, and I'm just be like, even when you see the women wrestle, it's just like like 80% of the women on that roster have no grace in their movement. They don't have much grace. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's good wrestling, and I enjoy it because it's women. Why is women? And freaking slim clothing. Jumping around and fighting each other, rolling around, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the great things. But then at the same time, it's just like I'm not saying that there shouldn't be a market or shouldn't be a place for them, but it's just like again it's like these matches or some of these matches are taking up slots that can go to other men, you know what I'm saying, who really like have the actual ability and the real talent to like if like none of those women in that locker room can do what can do what Shinsuke or even does what, again, the likes of a Ricochet could do. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, so when I see like how they like try to push it, like is this big thing, like, yeah, let's push this woman. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like when Ronda Rousey came out and they were doing the whole thing, I was just like, oh God, like this is so gimmicky. Like, it's
So
like,
you can,
yeah.
so you wouldn't watch another women's evolution pay-per-view?
I never watched it. I say this. I watched it. I say this. If Ronda Rousey went to a room, right,
Uh-huh.
if she went to a room of 10 women and
Mm-hmm.
all the women are sitting around talking about all the stuff that they enjoy doing, whatever, and Ronda Rousey talks about how she's like the first woman, like her mother was the first woman to win a judo competition, or she was the first UFC fighter. Women would be like, yeah, like, oh, that's a great, girl, but I'm like, but ain't no man gonna be attracted to no UFC fight. Like, it's just like, you know what I'm saying, like I'm just I'm just saying. Listen, I'm just saying. My point. Anyway, whatever. My wife, she's not liking. She's not feeling what I'm saying. Only my point is this, right? Is that most of the things that most of the things that deal with a lot of physical demanding things are usually not what women sit around and talk about, or usually aren't that interested in. That's just a fact. Like, it's just a fact. And I just feel like, okay, you can say whatever. So, and again, if it was so sexist, then
So
how come more women? If my thing is this, right? Is it because if it's so sexist, how come more women don't support women's whatchamacallit, UFC, right? How come more women don't support women's basketball? Women's basketball been on for like 10 years, right? But most women, and again, women outnumber men like 10-1 or something like that, or
so
7-1.
so if you
But
had the fear that your wife can kick your butt, would you be less attracted?
would I be less attracted? I'm not sure if I'll be less attracted. I mean, I'll just be like, oh, she know how to fight. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't bother me that much. I mean, I'll just learn how to fight and then beat it back up. She knows judo. I'll learn karate. You know how to throw, but I know how to kick. And as soon as you try to come and throw me, I'm gonna kick you in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, I'm not saying you should beat up women. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, my point is this, right? My point is this because again, it's just. But anyway, let me just drop the topic because this is not the Chop House. This is where we normally have these conversations on the Chop House, where I can really, kind of get a lot more mental into it. But anyway, my point really is this: is that the female wrestling the female wrestling market is very small, and it's not as big. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they're pushing it, like, yeah, we can make it big, and it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, like, you're gonna, it's just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? You can push it, you're gonna make, and I think it's gonna bring some entertainment value, but at the same time, it's just like, I feel like it just, my point, it just felt gimmicky. It just felt like another gimmick for another opportunity or another time that could have been spent on something else. And it was just like, whatever. And it's just like Ronda Rousey would be better off when it comes to like her wrestling, just coming out there doing matches rather than them trying to make her more personable to the crowd when, she has to develop more personality. That's what
but you know what that's because of, because her last run, she was upset because of the fact that the fans were booing her, and she felt like they shouldn't have been booing her. So this is more so because to try to get the fans more behind her, that way.
Yeah, but the thing is, the fans are going to naturally get behind you if you have a personality or you have something about your personality that really relates to everybody else. But again, if your personality does not relate to everybody, you know what I'm saying, and then you're bland, you just come out and you just say, well, da 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 da, and you don't have nothing vivacious about your character. It doesn't pop. You're always stoic, or I'm just who I am kind of personality. Is just like, all right, then that's just who you are. But that just makes you an average. You just have an average, kind of Joe personality. You can do above average things, but again, like, oh, you've done above average things, but it's just like, again, like there are a bunch of like, again, like you have a bunch of boxers who were just as good as Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? Or a bunch of boxers who were just as good as Tyson. You know what I'm saying? But again, he had a personality that popped, that related. You know what I'm saying? Besides just the amazing things he did. But just my thing is just that, again, Ronda Rousey is just like, it's like they're trying to make her a star. And I feel like in the UFC world, she's a star. I feel like in WWE, they're trying to make her a star.
Okay, I think they look at the fact that I guess her UFC's success and her popularity from USC is, I mean, and honestly, to be honest with you, her UFC popularity does transfer over to WWE, but it's just her wrestling skills that has us disengaged and disconnected. Now, if she was a great wrestler or she even looked believable, then we'd be like, all right, you know what, I'll be fully behind Ronda. But she tries to use her popularity from UFC and expect the fans to be like, yeah, 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 yeah. But yet it goes back to even Roman's first booking, where we feel like, okay, well, Vince is pushing this person down our throat. Because again, if you really think about it, when Ronda's first run, she didn't have regular matches. Like, her first match was the mixed tag match.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, she just was skyrocketed to, what I'm saying, the women's title, the women's title picture, put the belt on her with less than a year experience, well, less than 6 months experience, honestly. And they just want us to believe like, yo, she's like the best woman on the roster, which, as far as, match wise, she wasn't. Now if she had like a Steve Blackman where you had her in like pit fights or cage matches, or all her matches was like Hell in a Cell or elimination chamber matches, then yeah, by all means, like, all right, well, it makes sense. But I mean, if you're saying really trying to tell me that she can beat Sasha Banks or certain women in a wrestling match, that's where a lot of fans get lost.
Yeah, like, yeah, and Yeah, like she doesn't hold like what you're saying about her wrestling skills, right? She doesn't hold her punches. Like, I mean, well, she doesn't know. I'm sorry, she doesn't know how to control her punches. That's what I mean to say. Um, she doesn't know how to. It's like you could tell, like when she goes in the ring, like there's a switch in her that automatically says it's time to kill. Like it's time to So I just think that with her, it's just like she doesn't know how to turn that switch off. She doesn't know how to I'm sorry, not know how to. She's learning how to turn that switch off. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you could tell, like when she throws a punch, it's almost like she's not used to throwing a punch. She really doesn't mean to
Yeah.
not connect. Right? It's like she's intent. Like when she throws a punch, she's like, if I'm throwing a punch, I'm trying to connect. I'm not. I'm trying to be as accurate as possible. She's trained. Like she's trained because Ronda's been training since she was a child. And I knew, and now when I was my old job, I knew somebody who was a black belt. She like the woman at my job. She was a black belt in judo, like judo. I think it was in judo or MMA, but she was a black belt. And she was telling me, and this woman, she was like, she was she was like about like 5'10". She's pretty big, you know what I'm saying? Like 5'10", but not say big, but I would say, she was pretty big, you know what I'm saying, pretty tall. And she was a sizable woman, and she was telling me, she was like, I used to train with Ronda, and she was like, she used to toss me around. She was like, and I was pretty big for my age. And she's like, Ronda used to toss me around. She said Ronda was small too. And, but again, Ronda was trained like that. So it's like, when Ronda goes in the ring, like that's just her thing. Like she's trained to always connect. And I think that, when it comes to WWE, is like, we're not really trying to hurt the person. We're just trying to put on the show, a hypothetical pretty much before everybody to kind of like, not hypothetical, but anyway, but just a match, or whereas, they're just performing moves that are not intended to hurt them, but to just give you a show, a performance. And it's like Ronda is still learning how to do that. But anyways.
But I mean, but outside, I think Shane McMahon trained her on her punches.
You say he trained on her punches?
Yeah, I mean, they throw the same kind of punches. Like their punches don't look believable. Like it's only a certain amount of guys who punches look believable, and Shane and Ronda is definitely not one of them.
Yeah. Shane, old Sweet Pea give you the old Sweet Pea punch.
Yeah.
No, you gotta start moving his feet, and then you start, the old whatever. All right, news and rumors. All right. So news and rumors. Vince McMahon. Let's get into it. So we mentioned some of those things. We mentioned some of the news and rumors earlier. Vince McMahon is gearing up to go into the ring and have an opponent for WrestleMania. Apparently, Shane McMahon cannot book himself in a WrestleMania spot or book himself to win a Royal Rumble, but Vince McMahon can book himself to have a WrestleMania match. And that match he's going to have is against none other than reported Pat McAfee. So that's the rumor mill. I've seen an article about it, heard some things about it, about Vince McMahon going into the getting back in the ring. Vince is like what, 60 years old or something like that?
Vince is 76.
76. Oh man, we got like 4 more years till he's 80. 80, we can start counting down. When he'll actually retire from being backstage, but that's probably not gonna happen. Right. So Vince McMahon is fighting Pat McAfee. What are your thoughts?
I like Pat. I think Pat is good, but I feel that Pat needs somebody seasoned, or somebody who can like lead a match. Like I said, the match he had with Adam Cole. Adam Cole does it for a living regularly. You know what I'm saying? So Adam Cole can, walk through a match. Even his war game match was a bunch of with active wrestlers. Vince hasn't wrestled in years, so Vince is going to be off. His timing is going to be off. So it's for me, looking at it on paper, it's gonna be real like botchy and real just like to quote the WWE fans. I mean, I'm sorry, WWE Universe. This is boring. I feel we're gonna have a bunch of those moments during that match.
Yeah, Botchamania is going to be running wild on that match. Oh man, Botchamania. We're gonna have some Botchamania. It's gonna be what it is, man. You know, I'm just like annoyed at the fact that again, we could have had better matches booked for WrestleMania with other talent, but we got Vince McMahon and Pat McAfee. I mean, but we couldn't expect. You know, it's supposed to be the most stupendous show, right? It's supposed to be the most stupendous. Even the booking of WrestleMania, the main event match with Brock and Roman for the Universal and the WWE Championship is supposed to be the biggest match of WrestleMania matches of all time or something like that. That's how they promoted it, right? Like Randy Orton and Edge have the greatest match of all times, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't tell you how many times I went back and watched that match. But Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar about to have the greatest WrestleMania match of all times. It's like what? The biggest WrestleMania match of all time.
As Paul Heyman said, it's bigger than Hogan and Andre. It's bigger than Stone Cold and The Rock. So I guess we got no choice but to just like Randy Orton and Edge had the greatest wrestling match ever.
This is what I hate. This is what I hate. I hate you know when there's a saying that if you got it like that, you don't really got to flaunt it like that. Or a saying that says, when you getting it, you ain't really bragging that much about it. You know what I'm saying? There's some people who are braggadocious because they're able to do some things, and some people just braggadocious like that because they never had it before. So when they get it, it's like they brag about it. But my point is that nobody ain't really like hype for it like that. Like there are people that want to see it, but ain't really like hype. It's not a Stone Cold versus or The Rock. It's not a Hogan versus Warrior. It's not a Hogan versus Andre. WrestleMania. It's not a Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker. It's not a Shawn versus Triple H. It's not a it's not even a Rock versus Cena. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not one of those matches. It's not one of those matches where we're like, yeah, we gotta see it. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta see it. Like I was hyped about Batista fighting Triple H at WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? I was hyped about that because I wanted to see the development of a new star. I was hyped about that. It's not that. That ain't it. It's not a Daniel Bryan going to fight against Randy Orton and Batista at WrestleMania. This is not that. This is not it. It's not it. And they have to say that because they know it's not it. It's like, you got to say what you try to say what is. You trying to say what it is, but you know what it ain't. You know what it ain't. You know it ain't that.
Right.
So, the most stupendous, and it's just like whatever, man. It's like whatever. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'll be more excited for a Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins match.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, certain matches that you saw, certain guys you see, and it's like you said, it's not bragging. You know what I'm saying? Like to a certain extent, it's not tricking if you got it. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of thing. So we know what certain guys can do based off their resume. You know what I'm saying? So we can look at a card as we do all the time, and amongst each other in groups and stuff like that. We can look at a card and be like, "Oh, that's the main event. Okay, cool." But this match right here, that's
right. That's going to be it, right?
You know what I'm saying? And it don't even need to be hyped. It don't even need to be nothing. We just look at the card like, okay, that's going to steal the show. Like for instance, like all right, let's look at hindsight. Let's say all the rumored matches is you know what I'm saying, going to be it. We can look at that card right now, and if the rumored matches are true, we can look at that line and say, okay, AJ and Edge, that might steal the show. But then again, Cody versus Seth, That's it.
That's it right there, right?
So you know what I'm saying. So we're gonna be more intrigued to see those matches. And oh yeah, Brock and Roman. That's right. They got to fight too. All right. Well, cool. I guess we'll watch it. You know what I'm saying. But we know certain matches is just gonna just steal the show off rip.
Right. Exactly. You know, because we know those performers. We know their work, and we know that their chemistry would work well in the ring, given that they have the creative control of how the match is going to go. We know how we watch how their minds work in the ring. So we look at them and we say, you pair these guys up, oh, we're going to get a classic. Like we knew that Cesaro, like I was so like that was it like 2 WrestleManias ago? I was so hyped for Cesaro versus Seth. Like, because I knew it was going to be a good match. I knew Cesaro was going to pull out all the stops. I know Seth was going to pull out all the stops to make sure that they give us a watchable match. You know what I'm saying? And it's exactly what they gave us. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a great match. I just feel like with Roman and Brock, I'm gonna tell you exactly what's gonna happen. And I'm gonna tell you exactly what's gonna happen. So, and I'm gonna tell you right now. And if you guys are watching, again, if you guys are watching us on Facebook, give us a thumbs up, give us a share. Make sure you share so all your wrestling buddies can join in and comment in the comment section below. If you guys are checking us out on YouTube, give us a like, drop a comment in the comment section below. So hit that subscribe button and join us every time we go live Sunday and Tuesday. Tuesday at 10 p.m., Sunday at 12 p.m. Listen, I'm gonna tell you exactly what's gonna happen with Brock and Roman. They're gonna try to milk. They're gonna give you a match, more of a match this time. They're gonna give us more of a match this time, but it's probably gonna start out a little like how their first match started, where Roman comes in, Brock come in, they start to pair up, and Brock is gonna try to go for F5. He gonna go for F5. He may hit it. He may hit the F5, like boom, like I'm gonna just hit the F5, boom, and then hit that F5, try to pin Roman. Roman's gonna pop out, and then Brock is gonna try to go for another F5. Roman's gonna reverse it, probably roll out the ring, walk around a little bit, come back in the ring. Then Roman's gonna try to evade, throw a Superman punch, hit him with a Superman punch, and then they're gonna get to trying to do the little wrestling. But whatever Roman tries, as far as like big man moves like suplexing and slams, Brock is not going to allow him to do that. So Brock is going to reverse it. Then he's going to hit him with a little suplex city, stuff like that. And they're going to try to give us a match. And then it boils down to how they're going to finish off the match, which is going to be how they detail it. How they are or how they call it on the spot or whatever. But I could just tell the predictability of the match. I already know. And the reason why I can see that is because I've been seeing how Brock Lesnar has been fighting his matches recently, especially with Bobby, mixing it up with Bobby. He gave us more of a match. But again, it wasn't like he gave us different moves like the old Brock Lesnar when he would mix it up a little bit and give us a different match. But they're going to try to give us a match. But it's definitely going to start off with like an F5 or a finisher. Somebody's going to hit a finisher first. And then they're going to try to do whatever, all this other stuff. And that's the thing about so I mean, not really hype. This WrestleMania is going to be something else.
So do you think that Paul Heyman is going to pull the double swerve and end up going back to Brock?
He could do it. I hope he doesn't. My hopes is really that Brock Lesnar loses and he leaves WWE, and Roman Reigns continues on as the tribal chief, and that they just use somebody else, use another superstar who deserves a push to go and battle Roman and take the belt off of him and push him to the moon, so that Roman can at least have more competitors, instead of just running through the damn roster, Let me ask you a question. Now that you see Roman Reigns' run as champion, now he's just like running through everybody.
Mm-hmm.
How do you now look at Triple H's reign of terror? And did you consider it a reign of terror?
What do you mean the 2-man? I mean, not the 2-man. The what was it? The power couple, the power trip.
Not that, not the 2-man power trip or the Reign of Terror when the Reign of Terror that people consider the Reign of Terror when Triple H was handed the World Heavyweight title after Austin left, after Rock left, and he was pretty much the main top guy. And Eric Bischoff handed him the world title, and from there, that's where Triple H had a lot of he had a lot of title pull. But then from there, that's when he had a title. He held a title like he was in a main event picture for like strong for like a good 4 years, and then in that 4 years he built Evolution and everything. But people consider that the Reign of Terror because they felt like wrestlers like Booker T, RVD, Kane should have, and Scott Steiner should have been given. Oh, Scott Steiner, Goldberg should have been given more heavyweight appearances or have been given more opportunity to hold the title a little bit longer than what they've been given, or like RVD should they felt like Goldberg should have held the title longer. They felt like Booker T should have won over Triple H, but people felt that Triple H was just running through the roster of everybody. He was beating everybody. He would lose. He wasn't necessarily beating everybody because he would lose matches, even though he was a heavyweight champion. Because Triple H never has a problem putting people over. But they felt like it was a Reign of Terror. They felt like he was just running through the roster of people.
So to a certain extent, I feel like it wasn't bad. I want to say, like I said, well, speaking from bias, because Triple H is my guy. But I think the difference was, Triple H didn't have the belt for a year and over a year. It's a year and change. Mm-hmm. Triple H lost matches. And Triple H didn't seem invincible then. You know what I'm saying? Right now, Roman can't be beat by anybody. Right. Where Triple H, he lost, like you said, but then if he did win, it wasn't always clean. Like it'll be some outside interference, he'll cheat, stuff like that. But all Roman's matches are being won clean. Well, outside of the questionable Roman versus Demon match, which I still feel the type of way about. But but outside of that, like all his matches are clean, and it's just like, all right, you're really trying to tell me that there's nobody that can really stand toe to toe with him. And granted, if you look at the roster right now, believably, there's only maybe outside of Brock Lesnar, but there's only 3 guys who you can really look at like, okay, well, this guy actually looks like, well, no, Big E. So I throw Big E into that mix, but it's a handful of guys that you can legitimately look at and be like, you know what, I think they can beat Roman, or they have a chance if they was in the ring with him. And as Seth, AJ, Lashley, and Drew McIntyre. Other than that, if you look at, and like I said, you could throw Big E into that list too. But if you look at the current Raw and SmackDown roster, so you can't sit here and tell me like, oh, you put Austin Theory versus Roman, you really think Austin Theory, has a chance. Riddle at this point in his career.
What about Randy?
Randy's another one. I forgot. As I said, Riddle, Randy came to my mind. So Radio is another one you can put in there. But other than that, like a lot of guys, like you'd be like, yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's due to lack of talent, lack of direction, but at the same time, it's like I said, Roman's on this trajectory where, like I said, as he says, he's in God mode where, as I said, Triple H, yeah, he was being forced, but at the same time, with him being forced, he was giving us great matches. Yeah. And, at the same time, like I say, he was beatable. He didn't look invincible as Roman is.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true. And it's very true. It's very true. It's very true. It's very true. Roman Reigns is like he's like, again, like, he has the Infinity Gauntlet. You see his little gold glove, the Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah. He has a little Infinity Gauntlet. It's like, it's crazy. It's just like, again, I just look at, how fans, look at certain things and they judge it, and I just be like, I'm like, is everybody seeing everything that comes into play in these certain things? But again, but again, the reality is that it's what the fans like and what they want. So most people don't really have a problem with it because Roman is he's like one of the best things. I mean, he's pretty much the best thing or one of the best things on the roster. You know what I'm saying? So people don't really have a problem with it because now we got a heel Roman, which is what we always wanted after them trying to shove a face Roman down our throats for all these years. So it's very interesting. So that's why I just had to ask that question because I feel like it's no different, only in the sense that with Triple H, it wasn't so you know like he would, like they say, it's a reign of terror. And I was like, yo, but he lost to this person. He lost to that person. He actually lost the belt. He actually lost the belt. He lost the belt, you know what I'm saying? Or he fought this person, or you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like he just went on beating everybody, just beating everybody. It was like he beat people that made sense for him to beat. Like it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? It's like him sitting there losing like Rod Van Dam. It's like, yeah, it's believable. But as far as when you look at Triple H compared to RVD, Triple H is a better character. Like, there's no comparison. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want RVD to be, this big character, but it's like RVD was a great character. You could have pushed him, and they, but it's just like, but compared to really Triple H, it's like, come on, man. Like, I understand, but whatever. Anyway, this is my opinion. News and rumors. I have a article here. Freddie Prinze Jr. on what led to Kofi Kingston's 2009 push being scrapped. On this week's Wrestling with Freddie podcast from iHeartMedia's My Cultura Network, former WWE creative team member Freddie Prinze Jr. discussed the evolution of Kofi Kingston in WWE. Freddie revealed that after Kofi Kingston's breakout NASCAR promo in 2009, the creative team were assigned to come up with a storyline that would ultimately see Kofi capture a mid-card title. Kingston had trashed the custom-made motor made for Randy Orton in their feud. However, plans were eventually derailed because of an incident that occurred during a Kofi Orton one-on-one match on Raw. The whole team was motivated. Freddie Prinze Jr. explains, we, the creative team, finished the whole thing up, and everybody thinks we have this great run for the title. We bring it, and it gets approved by Steph McMahon. She's right behind it. I don't think Shane was back in the company at the point. I think he was over in China at that point in time. In the meantime, Randy Orton and Kofi have a match. This is a week later, following the NASCAR promo. In the match, a spot gets blown. So a spot gets blown, and Randy gets pissed on live TV, and you see him. You can check this on YouTube. He yells "stupid" with the deep Orton booming voice, and that Vince wanted him to be Johnny Cash and present himself, even though everybody already. I'm sorry. So he wanted Vince wanted Randy to be a lot more cool, even though everybody already knew he was Randy Orton as "Hello, I'm Randy Orton." Like, yo, that's exactly like it is from that trailer that you saw for that movie. Yeah, that's great. All right, I'm reading this wrong. All right, okay, okay. We already know. We already knew. We already knew he's the best wrestler in the world already. Who knew? And we knew who he is. Anyway, so this spot gets blown, meaning the technique. A stunt in the match gets blown. You can tell something doesn't look good. I don't know what it is because I don't see the spot when it happens. I don't know what happened. I just know something is not good, right? Junior explains. Okay, so he says, anyway, uh, he says, Prince Jr. explains that the incident in the match immediately affected their upcoming creative plans for Kingston, which led to Kofi's push being scrapped. I'm sitting through this 2-hour, 3-hour production meeting. Freddie Prinze Jr. says, my story is dead. I tried to save it for about 10 to 15 minutes. When I say my story, I mean my team story. It's my job to sell their crap. It's my job to put it over. That's my job as your salesman on production day. And when I say crap, I don't mean bad stuff. I was behind this. I believe in this story. I believe in this story. I say that about my crap too. Don't worry. But 10 to 15 minutes, I'm fighting for it, and there is just no winning this battle. Now I'm trying to fix it. I'm offering alternative solutions. Other people are offering alternative solutions. The whole thing is just gone and dead. So finally, I just shut up and we move on. And I don't even think Kofi even worked that night. And I get out and they tell me what happened. They tell me about this blown spot and Randy's pissed about it. Um, it got shut down and they ended up for those who aren't in the know, they ended up using the real moment of why Randy sort of held Kofi down in the actual story of Kofi's winning the title after winning the gauntlet match. That I saw 10 years later off of Randy. They literally put that in the story. If you see, um, so that was just interesting. I think we all kind of knew that, but I just wanted to hear Freddie Prince's side. I thought he had something new to kind of really add, but as to explaining the reason why, other than the fact that it was a botch move, but whatever. Petty is as petty does, right? Um, um, yeah, petty is as petty does. All right. So, any more news and rumors?
Yeah, I have one.
All right.
So my bad, I take care of something. But yeah, so Britt Baker, I was literally just reading it. So Britt Baker came on and she said that she's like thankful that WWE declined her, well, they rejected her. So she tried out, and she actually was trying to get signed along with Lacey Evans as well as Bianca Belair. But they kind of didn't sign her or give her an offer because they felt she was a pretty face who wasn't going to take bumps. One and two, she was in dental school at the time, and she kind of like, so they told her like, you know what, you're in dental school, we want you to finish dental school. So she said, she would have quit dental school at a heartbeat just to be signed because that was her passion, that's what she wanted to do. But they was like, no, finish school. And she said one of the head trainers kept in contact with her, like, hey, are you still training? How's school coming along? Are you almost finished? And she said she's kind of grateful because if they would have offered her the deal with Bianca and Lacey, she would have quit dental school to be a WWE superstar. And that's hit or miss. Either she could have been great or she would have been one of those cut. And honestly, for her, she felt like if she would have, because I mean, looking back at it, if she would have quit dental school and went to NXT and then not been a star or been pushed as she could have, then she would have been frustrated like that. I quit dental school. It's one of my passions to go to WWE, which is my other passion, and and then it's like now you guys release me and I can't go back. Now granted, depending on WWE pushed her, she probably would still found her way in AEW, but I think it's a better situation for her now because she was able to finish dental school and then go to AEW. So so for some people may think, hey, that maybe the door may be open if opportunity presents itself, but I don't see her leaving AEW. Just like we don't see Charlotte leaving WWE.
Yeah, she has a great opportunity, and AEW has been pushing Britt to the moon for the most part. They've really been pushing her as a star, as definitely a top woman star, which is good. I'm not a big fan of her wrestling because her matches to me are like, every time I see her wrestle, I'm never really impressed. But nonetheless, I just like what they're doing with her character. So I like the fact that they found one thing I just like about AEW is the fact that they're just sticking to like, the same standard. Like, again, like they get a champion. They're like, we're gonna put the belt on somebody who we can see them holding the belt for at least 6 months, 6 to 8 months. You know what I'm saying? And then as it goes from there, we'll see how, if their reign, is really, good, or we're enjoying it and we feel like we can add more momentum to it or add more story to it or have something more intriguing behind this character, we'll keep pushing it forward. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't a big. I mean, so anyway, let me not say that, but yeah. So I like what they've done with Britt Baker as far as how they're trying to develop the women's division, which is what they need to do. So they again, one of the biggest key factors is get a top heel or get a top face and push that person, as the face of your brand. You know what I'm saying? So they have a top heel and Britt Baker, and that's what's working. You know what I'm saying? Until they feel, okay, we see somebody else who can hold this title, who can come up through the ranks and really give us something great, so we can put this title on this person. But right now, it seems like Britt Baker's going to be holding that belt for a very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, and Sean can definitely probably comment on who they think will be the next. I know it's not Jade Cargill.
Yeah, Jade has owned, the TNT title unless, they kind of have her drop it and go after the world title.
Well, I was saying that based on the fact that, Jade Cargill still has some more developmental work to do as far as a performer. But but I think with Britt with Britt Baker, I think they really have something good as far as how they're trying to build. But it definitely worked out for her a whole lot better than it did for her going to WWE, because I think if Britt Baker would have went to WWE, she would have been a jobber.
Yeah, she would have been Zelina Vega, early Liv Morgan,
Right.
early Alexa Bliss, so.
Yeah.
Because, think about it. Like, if you look at her and you put her on a roster, what makes her different than, unless her wrestling skills kind of like spoke for itself.
Right.
But other than that, she would just be considered another pretty face who's good.
Right. So here we go. So Cesaro gets released. Another heartbreaking. So it wasn't. So again, news on Cesaro's release. So most of you know, most of you probably read the article. Most of you are just as in this, space of whatever feeling, but at the same time, just like, okay, what are we doing now? Kind of feeling. So Cesaro didn't come to a terms of agreement with WWE in his contract.
Mm-hmm.
They offered him a new contract, offered him a certain amount of money. Cesaro tried to negotiate and say, well, I think I should get paid XYZ because XYZ, and I think I should. And he tried to negotiate some terms for more. And WWE apparently didn't see the benefit in Cesaro getting what he should have gotten and what they felt like he wanted. And they couldn't come to a mutual agreement. So Cesaro decided to walk away from the offer that was on the table, and which led to Cesaro leaving. So it wasn't Cesaro necessarily being released. He left
Right.
because he didn't want to accept the offer they were giving him. He tried to negotiate something and it didn't work out. So we got Cesaro, who's now possibly back in the Indies. Of course, Cesaro's at a place where he's now going to try to figure out what he's going to do. I'm quite sure Eddie Kingston is probably going to vouch for him in AEW because we already know.
No, he's not. It was all the complete opposite. He hated Cesaro.
Oh, he did.
He hates Cesaro because he feels like Cesaro didn't put him over, in their last match. And he called Cesaro kind of a-holes, and he's like, I hope he never comes here. So, yeah, it's the complete opposite.
Oh, I thought they were friends. Oh, well, I guess they're not. I guess they're not.
Not at all.
So, hopefully Cesaro still goes to AEW because we already know if he goes there, it's going to be great. Probably Daniel will probably put a good word in for him, knowing Daniel. But
I feel like, you know what I'm saying, like, it's Eddie Kingston's word versus, Daniel Bryan and everybody else's word, and what Tony Khan sees on screen. So it's because Tony Khan is the final say. So even if he sits down, like, listen, Eddie, like, this is what it is. I'm bringing this guy. He's a great talent. He can help promote the career, and if you feel the type of way, we can keep you guys completely separate. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
Tony Khan, finds him to be useful. I definitely see him in the company.
Yeah, I see him as well. I see him going there too. I see him being used. I'm just like looking at AEW like, well, y'all have so much. Y'all got so much to now compete because it's like y'all got a lot of their good. You got a lot of WWE's good wrestlers that y'all wasn't using, and again, you got CM Punk, which is interesting because now, well, we'll see. I think we need some time. I think AEW still needs some time. They're still developing, and they need some time. I don't want to say anything too soon, but they're still developing, and we'll see where this goes. But they now have the opportunity to now rebrand, use these former WWE stars who wasn't given the proper opportunity, build homegrown AEW talent. Do not get fixated on trying to put every WWE superstar uh in that rocket ship and sending them off to be in all your main event pitches. Um, give them some of that opportunity, but but let it go, let it work out naturally, and then actually use them to help them develop your talent. Have them mentor some of those guys because I remember there was an article, no, there was a video I seen with Kevin Nash and was it Kevin Nash or somebody? But they spoke about how Kevin Nash was showing the TNA talent how to talk into the camera. How every time they would get in front of the camera, they kept looking to the camera. And they always look at the camera and look at the camera. And he was like, one thing that Vince taught us, or one thing that they taught us, is that people are already watching you. So you don't look into the camera, you draw them in by looking away and just telling your story to the announcer. I mean to the person who's there. So yeah. So um they can develop that talent from there. They can, do those different things or use whatever they learned from whatchamacallit, WWE, and do it in AEW. Everything they learned over there, bring it over there, you know what I'm saying, and just enhance what they learn, learn all those cues and those tips and points. But I'm telling you, as soon as AEW rebrands and they understand that marketing strategy of branding and bringing in, because I think one of the key things about WWE that made WWE blow up was that they brought in celebrities. That was always one of the key factors, is bringing in high profile celebrities. That's what saved WWE. Mike Tyson and Stone Cold. That saved WWE. If Mike Tyson would have never came, Stone Cold wouldn't have been as big as he is now.
Honestly, I also feel too with AEW right now, they're great. I mean, they're good. I won't say great. They're good. But once they get to that proverbial or whatever pivotal bridge that they have to cross when a lot of their contracts expire, when Tony Khan already stated that he's not going to be financially able to renew everyone's contract.
Right.
So when he's faced with a point where he has to decide who he can resign, who he can't resign, who he has to let go, that's going to determine a lot. You know what I'm saying? Are you going to keep your homegrown guys and some of the like you, as you say, as Travis would say, WWE stars, or are you going to hone to keep those guys and kind of let go of your talent? So like that's going to be real interesting when it comes to a lot of contracts coming by. Like even I know MJF's is the first one, but I mean it's going to be interesting. But like I'm looking at like the whole picture when when you have a Malachi Black contract comes to an end. Daniel Bryan's contract comes up. Even I think Daniel Bryan's probably not going to resign. Well, his contract, he may hang it up. But when you got a guy like Darby Allin or Malachi Black, who are you going to resign? You can't resign both. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting when those tough decisions come because I mean, just like every other company, AEW is going to have to go through some budget cuts as well. So we'll see how they handle.
No, you're right. That's an interesting point to bring up, and they have to keep who has made the impact over the course of time that they've been on air. They got to keep those people, the people who make an impact, the people who have the image, the people who have the look, the people who have a great character. Keep those people. Keep those people who are really standing out and really connecting with the fans. Because I like the fact that they bring in indie wrestlers to come and wrestle, and have their little matches to kind of give them that feel. That's what I like. That's different.
Right.
That definitely brings a different spin to it. But to imagine a company like AEW on a WWE's level doing that would be great. Like it'll be phenomenal. Like if AEW gets to WWE level, and then you got somebody like you got somebody like Okada, Kazuchika Okada. I'm saying his first name wrong, but Okada coming in from New Japan to wrestle, and AEW, and do like run like a feud with like whatchamacallit again, like Omega. That'd be crazy. You know what I'm saying? TNA tried it, and they flopped on Okada. They jobbed him out, which was sad. But it's just that I think that one of the things that some promotions do need to do is pay attention to talent from other promotions when they come in. But they do sometimes, and then sometimes they just like say, well, this is what we think of you, so this is how we're going to use you. But yeah, those budget cuts will happen. There's going to be a lot of people that are on the roster that will get cut, and they just need to keep the ones who are in a place of where their character is in a good place and their character is going up, or not their character, or not in a sense of where their character look like they're still in development, like Brian Cage. Brian Cage still trying to like find his character, or like you got just other guys who just look like they just started out in wrestling, or they coming straight off the indies. Because some of these, one thing about AEW is that it, even though it's a brand, it still feels like an indie. It feels like a big indie brand, and it's like, yeah, this is about wrestling, but the wrestling still needs to have entertainment, because that's what draws people. Not just the wrestling, it draws people, because the wrestling market is the sports entertainment market is still trying to grow. It was a big market at one point, but Vince killed that. He definitely killed that. But it has its heights, but it's not as big as basketball or football or all the major sports. But at one point, it was almost as big, and it got to that point where people who were watching, regular sports was watching WWE like, oh, this is entertaining, because it was different from their usual, but it was entertaining. But yeah, any more news and rumors?
No.
All right, let's wrap this up. We at the almost at the 2-hour mark. We at 1:39. Thank you guys for joining us for another edition of Wrestling Talks and Thoughts. I'm your host, Saheem the Dream. You guys can join us as we go live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. and every Sunday at 12 p.m. So we can talk wrestling, and also you guys can hit us up on the Wrestling Talks and Thoughts group page on Facebook, and the Wrestling Talks group on Facebook, and join the group. Drop some comments in the comment section below. Post your post about wrestling. We'll be on there to chat with you guys. And if you guys want to be on the live with us, hit us up, and we will bring you on as a guest and to talk wrestling. Again, this is your boy Saheem the Dream.
It's your boy JJASH.
And we'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.